Welcome to Pursuing God with David. Today we're going to look at a relationship between David and a guy named Mephibosheth, which is Saul's grandson. I'm going to talk about 2 Samuel 3, 9, and 19. So before I get right into chapter 3, though, let me explain to you what just happened before that. Saul had just died in battle, so that means David is about to become king. So what's typical practice back then is before David becomes, or as David's becoming king, he would kill Saul's family. That way nobody later down the road could try to claim the throne and any kind of problems that way. So that's kind of where chapter 3 picks up. Chapter 3 picks up and says that Saul's servant hears about that Saul died. So she grabs Mephibosheth, is trying to take him away because, again, she thinks David's about to try to kill him. And as she's running away, trying to save him, she accidentally drops him. He's a kid at this point. Ends up messing up both his legs and makes him lame for the rest of his life. That means he can't use either one of his legs. So, and that's kind of just where it leaves it right there. So it's kind of a bad situation right off the bat. So after that, you don't hear anything more about him until chapter 9. And in chapter 9, David gets up and it says, talks to his servants like, "Is there anyone left in the line of Saul? I want to show kindness to them." So just let's take a step right there. Take a step back right there. So David woke up this morning and it was just like, yeah, I want to show kindness to one of my enemies, family members. That's not typically how we wake up, is it? Is that what we normally do? Like, man, which enemy's family am I going to show kindness to today? No, that's not our norm. That's not human nature. That's not what we typically do. But that just shows like David's heart. That shows that he was constantly trying to find what God wanted him to do and was always trying to show the love of Christ to other people, the love of God to other people. And so that's a cool little thing right there. So as Mephibosheth comes in, David tells him, this place is yours. You're always going to be at this dinner table. Mephibosheth, was so grateful. So he's coming in there, praising, David. So that's a cool little situation right there. So that ends of chapter 9, just kind of like that. But after chapter 9 and in between chapter 19, David goes through some hard times. And, he's about to lose king and all this stuff. So he's about to free Jerusalem. And Mephibosheth, he expected him to come with him, and he never did. One of his servants said, yeah, no, Mephibosheth isn't coming. So just think about how bad that had to hurt David. I just did everything for him. Now he's not even going to come flee with me. Now that I'm going through some problems, he's just going to stay there. So I'm sure that hurt David. So then you get into chapter 19, and now David's just now became king again, and he sees Mephibosheth coming back in on a donkey. So just think what you would be feeling at this point. You just see the guy who didn't want anything to do with you when you weren't king. But now that you're king, he's coming back in on a donkey. And you're the king again, so you can have him killed just like you could have had him killed years ago. But instead, Mephibosheth starts telling him the story, and you don't know whether he's telling the truth or his servant's telling the truth. He says, I couldn't get on a donkey, blah, 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 blah. You'd have to go read that yourself. It's in chapter 19, the very end. But instead, David says, don't worry about it. Don't tell me anymore. I love you, and I'm going to give you some more land. So let's just think about that. This guy cheated him, kind of messed him up, didn't want anything to do with him when he wasn't a king. But the second he becomes a king, he's coming back. And instead of David trying to kill him, trying to question him, trying to argue with him, he says, I'm just glad you're here. You're getting this back. And I think it's a perfect example of God's grace towards us. We offer him nothing, just like Mephibosheth. He couldn't even walk. He couldn't even get on a donkey all by himself. He had zero to offer David. But he still said, I love you. I'm thankful for you. You're forgiven. So David's relationship with Mephibosheth is a really cool thing throughout the whole thing. I mean, it shows God's love right from the beginning, and then it ends up showing God's grace. Just like we screw up, Mephibosheth was messing up. And he instantly just gave him back, just like God always accepts us back. So if you want to go back and read more about this, it's a really cool little spot. Again, it's in chapters 3, 9, and 19 in 2 Samuel.